If you want to maximize the ROAS of your Google Shopping campaigns, then you need to know what's going on with your Google Shopping feed. And there are a lot of myths out there, like what really makes a good feed, what are the important fields in there, and what you should actually put in those different fields. Now in today's video, I want to demystify some of these things and tell you, based on my experience and several million of dollars in Google Ads spent, what you should pay attention to, what changes basically have the biggest impact, and how you can make sure that you get the most out of your feed. So with this being said, let's jump straight to the computer and I will show you step by step the key points that you need to know about the Google Shopping feed to make your next Google Shopping campaign a success. Let's get started. Alright, so here we are in a Google Sheet file, and I know that most of you guys are probably using like a plugin for example, the Simprosys Google Shopping feed app for Shopify to manage your feed, but I use Google Sheets in that case because I think it's very easy to visualize the different categories and the different feed items, and then tell you a little bit about it and how to get the most out of them. Now, the first big myth that I want to sort of talk about here is keywords. And that's something that I see with almost every client that I work with, and many of the messages that I get. People are constantly worrying that they are not putting enough keywords in their title, description, and sometimes even like the Shopify product page. Like I have cases where people were adding like 30 relevant keywords to the Shopify product page in the end, hoping that Google would crawl them and therefore give them more high quality clicks or more clicks in general. Now here's what I observed after running like probably thousands of Google Shopping campaigns in total. Google at this point is pretty decent and pretty good at giving you quality traffic as long as you just described your product well enough using a good title. So when you have a well-optimized title with the most relevant keywords, and ideally, some repeating keywords or similar keywords in the description, you are pretty good to go. Like, you don't have to artificially add hundreds or dozens of keywords to your title at the very end, or to your description, or on the Shopify product page, hoping that every single keyword will give you more traffic, because you have to think about it like that. There aren't that many differences between a very, very well-optimized listing and a well-optimized one, right? So there's only so much that you can get out of it. It's either cool, you get a lot of quality traffic, not so much, or hey, that's very, very poor. But it's not really worth it spending too much time worrying about the keyword density and all that kind of stuff. So with this being said, here are the two most important fields when it comes to your Google Shopping feed. On the one hand, here we have the title, and that's absolute key. Like, that's where you have your place to shine. Here you need the absolute most relevant keywords for your product. Usually what I use here is the main sort of name of the product, if it's like a model, a model number, or if it's like a specific name that everyone knows about. In this case, if we want to sell a selfie stick, we would call it selfie stick at the very beginning. And if it has like a key feature in the very beginning, we would add that too. Then in the case of a selfie stick, one of the key aspects is like which phones it works with, right? So for Android and Apple, not sure if that makes sense. Probably it makes more sense to talk about specific manufacturers here. But the point is, the title is really, or you should really use the title for the absolute key characteristics of your products. And this includes, for example, colors, if you sell fashion, it includes maybe sizes, it includes materials, it includes a specific model number, it includes like key features, for example, if your product has Bluetooth or Wi-Fi or something like that. These are all things that you can put in the title, and even sometimes with multiple like repetitions if you're using synonyms, right? So you could go with like selfie stick and selfie stick and something that's very related to that. It maybe means the same thing, but ultimately it gives you that sort of extra relevance, and maybe there are some search queries that you get that way that you wouldn't get otherwise. What it's important here to know though, Google at this point is pretty smart, and they know the synonyms for selfie stick, or they know that, if you are selling a specific type of drone, for example, they are definitely giving you traffic that is very close to that. You don't have to specifically mention every single keyword, and only then you will actually rank for that. You just need to make sure that Google understands what you're selling by giving it enough keywords, by briefly explaining what your product is about. Google will crawl your product page too. They will read your images, they will read the text on your product page, and by doing that, they have a very good overview on what you sell. Now, the other field that is extremely important is your image link. And that has nothing really to do with, how often you show up or something, or how optimized everything is in terms of the keywords you can rank for, but it's super important for your click-through rate. And ultimately, if you ever try to scale the Google Shopping ad, you know that there's only so much level of scale in like a typical product. For example, you might not get any additional traffic after $100 in daily ad spend, or sometimes it's maybe 300, sometimes 800, right? But there is a point where it's very hard to get more traffic with shopping. So it's even more important that you have a very, very high click-through rate. Remember, if you have a 0.3% click-through rate on a shopping ad and suddenly you manage to double this to 0.6 or even 1, this is not such a difficult thing, but it can immediately double or triple your traffic just like that. So having an image that is very high quality, that shows the product in a very good way, that you have also tested several times, especially when the product gets a lot of clicks, is super, super important, because the image is definitely the single most important thing when it comes to your click-through rate. The title is important for ranking, for also a little bit of pre-qualification, but the image is really all the difference. And I've seen cases where one image was responsible for 2.5% click-through rate and another one for like a 0.2. So this can really make all the difference in click-through rate, quality, and also ultimately the CPCs that you pay, which of course in turn means higher return ad spend or lower return ad spend for you. Then, these are the two key points, and these are the only absolute two key points. The second then is the description. Like, that's super important to a degree that it gives people, a slight overview of what's also good to know about your products. I know that a lot of people use like descriptions with 500, 1000, 2000 characters. That's definitely not necessary. The absolute majority of people, they go to Google, they click on the item, they see the first part of the description, they maybe read 1 or 2 sentences, maybe 3, then they head to your website anyway if they like what they read or what they see. So yes, if you have a good description, there is no need to cut it. Yes, if you can use or reuse your Shopify description because it's well optimized, you can also just do that. The point is, don't spend too much time on that. Technically, if you have like infinite time, yes, you can write a perfect, super optimized description for every single item, but no one has that, and no one has like an infinite budget to pay like 10 VAs to do that. So keep it short, keep it simple, keep it easy. You don't even have to massively customize it for every single product. Just use like a template, make some small changes here and there, or as I said, simply use your Shopify or your online store product description and reuse it on shopping. Because as I said, the key or the key indicator for how often you show up and how much quality traffic you get is mainly the title and ultimately also what's on your website, etc. The description plays a secondary role. Yes, it's important, but you shouldn't spend too much time on it. The other thing that's also important, just not as important as title and image, is the Google product category. Now, we have to get that straight as well. The Google product category doesn't mean that if you use the wrong one, you suddenly don't show up for this product anymore, right? The reason you use a Google product category is that Google can be perfectly sure when someone is actually filtering, and in order to show your products along with other relevant ones. If you don't put any Google product category, you will still get very high quality traffic most of the time, and you will also get like solid volume. However, since we're always trying to get to the 100% or at least closest to that, you should always try to use a Google product category that comes closest to your product. So if you have a, specific type of handbag, then you should use the Google product category that gets closest to that type of handbag instead of just going with handbags, or instead of just going with, accessories or something like that, right? In some cases, when you're not sure, simply use the category that's one tier above that. But whenever you can be more specific, try that out, because this will just mean that your quality of traffic will slightly increase. So important again, but not as important as all the rest. And these 4 fields are basically the one that you have to pay attention to, because things like the link is obvious, the condition is obvious. For most of you guys, it's simply new. The price is obvious, right? You should test it, you should try to optimize it, but there is nothing that you can do to optimize the listing itself. GTIN, MPN, and at least these two depend on your products, whether you sell something that's commonly sold that has a unique identifier or not. For many dropshippers, that's not the case. For many people that are like actually stocking and selling common items, that's important, but that's really the key that you have to pay attention to. So you see that yes, a very good feed can do much better in terms of overall ROAS and performance than a very bad feed. But the point is that as long as you pay attention to it, as you put in the work, and if you know what you're doing, chances are that most of the time your field will be doing okay. So there is no reason to spend like 10 minutes per item optimizing your feed, or to spend like 20 hours optimizing your feed, because very quickly you will hit a point where you cannot do any better. So that was my video about Google Shopping feeds and how to get the most out of them, and also how to understand what's really important here. If you have any other questions, or if you want me to look over your feed, if you want me to work with you directly on your Google Ads, then you should use the link in the description where you can book a free call with me. I will sit down with you and we will determine, is there some room that we can work together? I have a bunch of people I'm working with. I consult them, I help them take their Google Ads to a new level. I've helped people go from $10,000 to $100,000 in monthly revenue, and much more than that. So if you're interested in working with me directly, either by me managing your ads or helping you out to make them more profitable and more scalable, just click the link in the description and I'm sure that I will be able to help you as well. So with this being said, smash the like button if you enjoyed this video and want to see more Google Ads and e-commerce content, and also subscribe if you don't want to miss out on any of my videos. I hope that you will now have a great day, have fun optimizing your feed. I hope that now you know how to do it the right way. And with this being said, I hope that I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.